Hello there, this is James Scrofty, it is RT78, and when you look at Voyager in comparison to the rest of the Star Trek franchise, even the widely condemned and reviled Enterprise and Discovery, the one thing that sets it apart, the fundamental reason why I dislike it so much and unlike Enterprise can't even respect what it was attempting to achieve, is that ultimately it wasn't even trying to accomplish anything. That while every other Star Trek series has an underlying philosophy and vision, something that it was working to convey and to explore, although Voyager started out with an incredibly powerful premise that was obviously intended to define and shape the entire series, it almost immediately deteriorated into an adventure of the week grab bag of whatever the writers wanted to do in that particular episode, combined with whatever they thought would make the fanboys spooge. Exploiting the fact that Star Trek had always been episodic in the past, effectively resetting at the beginning of each episode well beyond the point of absurdity in order to avoid ever really having to deal with any consequences of any kind. Indeed, when all is said and done, the very fact that Star Trek Voyager is essentially just the next generation but on the other side of the galaxy and with far weaker characters is a testament to how it ultimately had no identity of its own, all the way through all 7 seasons, borrowing characters and species from TNG and DS9 in order to bask in their reflected glory instead of working to create characters and species which fans would love independent of the rest of the franchise, a la Deep Space Nine, and having effectively forgotten that the crew's number one priority was supposed to have been finding a way home for episodes on end, the series finally concluded when, out of nowhere, the writers pulled a magic MacGuffin out of their collective arsehole held by the Borg, obviously, because Trekkies love the Borg, keep bringing back the Borg at every opportunity, we haven't ploughed it into the ground yet, keep ploughing, which brought Voyager home, the end, because honestly, in a series in which nothing ever really meant anything, what did you expect beyond show's over folks, nothing else to see here, move along. Of course, I could go on for hours, but given that countless channels are already making thousands of videos dissecting the entire Star Trek franchise, coupled with the fact that I'll be lucky if this video receives 12 views, I'll only continue if anyone is actually interested in hearing what I have to say. So what do you think? Would you like to hear me describe what Voyager was so obviously intended to be in the beginning? To complain about how Janeway's motivation depended entirely upon what the episode demanded that week, and that having completely kiboshed the idea of an uneasy alliance between Starfleet and the Marquis, Chakotay was left with no role whatsoever beyond being Janeway's lapdog? How Voyager utterly nerfed the Borg, and having replaced them with an even more dangerous and malevolent species obsessed with genetic purity, suddenly decided that no, this virtually invulnerable and genocidal threat which has the power to destroy Borg cubes and even entire planets with a single shot, is terrified of humans and only acting in self-defense, creating a replica of Starfleet Academy and posing as humans in order to infiltrate Starfleet solely because the writers wanted to please the fanboys by showing fucking Boothby again. How the Doctor and 7 of 9 were both pathetic rip-offs of Data combined with cringeworthy fan service, and how on top of 12 other issues they were only allowed to develop up to a certain point because beyond that the writers would have actually had to do some fucking work. If you would be interested, then please let me know down in the comment section, and assuming that I have both the time and the motivation, then I'll definitely see what I can do.